Hello, maurieo. Hello, welcome. Well, in this video, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself and introduce myself as a surveyor. So my name is Maurice O'Neill, and I was born and brought up in Titahi Bay in Wellington, a suburb of Wellington by the sea. A wonderful place with beautiful views of the Porirua Harbour from my home and the wonderful Titahi Bay Beach. I went to St Pius X Primary School and from there to Mana College. And from Mana College I made it through to the 7th form year and I started work as a draftsman at the Lands and Survey Department, going to Victoria University part-time for a year to study mathematics. The next year I gained a scholarship to full-time study at Victoria University from the Lands and Survey Department, and I completed papers in geology, year 2 mathematics and physics, and this gave me sufficient credit to get into the Bachelor of Science survey at Otago University the following year, where I was again funded by the Lands and Survey Department by way of a scholarship of $400 for the entire year, as well as work if I needed it during the holidays. So from there I managed to obtain a Bachelor of Science degree eventually, and I continued to work at the Lands and Survey Department, where I registered as a surveyor, working on a number of different cadastral projects and precise levelling and things like that. In around about 1980, I got married to my wonderful wife Lindy, and we moved to Huntly, where I had got a job in the coal mines as a mine surveyor and subsequently a sort of mine engineer and a mine planner and what have you. And we stayed in Huntly for 2 years, and then we bought a house in Ngaruawahia, where I am still living today. In 1982 we bought the wonderful, what was then an 80-year-old villa in Ngaruawahia, and is now more than perhaps it wasn't, coming up for a 100-year-old villa now anyway. So from there in 1987 I left the mines. Well, we parted ways. They paid me too much money to go away, and I took a job for a year with Hollinger Collier, a surveying firm in Hamilton. Wonderful people, both Rex and Ken, and I still keep contact with Ken today through landform survey. So wonderful times. At that time I realised that my extra maths paper that I'd managed to get would give me entry into Teachers Training College at the Waikato or Hamilton Teachers Training College, which is now Waikato University, or part of Waikato University. So I did my 1-year Div C course there, and eventually, after much grinding and gnashing of teeth, I got secured a position teaching maths at Huntly College, and I stayed there for approximately 8 years teaching maths at Huntly College, and then thought, oh, what a wonderful thing it would be to move and teach the people of my own town in Ngaruawahia. So I went and got a job as teaching maths at Ngaruawahia High School. Now around about that time I realised that my surveying degree was coming a little bit dated, in the sense that, well, computers and all sorts of technology had come into the field. So I decided that I'd get a job back in surveying. So I went back to surveying, and I got a job as a surveyor with Terralink, which was a government, a private firm that had transitioned from a government department. And I stayed there for a couple of years, I think, or a year or so. And then I secured a position at CKL Surveys and worked there, doing all sorts of engineering, cadastral work and Housing New Zealand work and scoping and things like that. Now at that time I decided, well, perhaps I'd give the self-employment a go as a surveyor, and so I started down that track. But first I thought it would be a good idea to distance myself from the firm that I was working with. So I took a position at Maurieo High School teaching maths, and I taught there for approximately a year, I think, and things sort of happened quite quickly, and I could see that, well, I might be able to make a bit of a living as a surveyor working for myself. And so I did, and thanks for wonderful help from Graham Cullen at Lifestyle Research, I was able to transition into working for myself. And I did a number of sort of jobs around resource consents, engineering set out, all, you know, quite smallish 1 into 2 subdivisions, mum and dad, that sort of thing, but required a huge range of skills which I acquired over that time. Then the opportunity came up to work on a contract basis building the Spring Hill prison with Downer and Company, really, or Works Infrastructure, or as they sort of transitioned and became. And so I went up and helped build the prison, 2 years building, I think, 50 buildings on a large site. It was fun times, covered all sorts of, quite a range of things. Meanwhile, also doing other little bits and pieces and what have you. Now that when the GFC, the financial crisis, work started to dwindle away, and I started to think that, well, perhaps I wasn't the best of businessmen, and thought, well, maybe it's time to try and bring everything together into my teaching and my surveying. Oh, and did I mention, while I was teaching, I also did sort of a diploma at Wintec in educational computing as well, which took a couple of years. So the chance to bring it all together came when a position at the Bay of Plenty Polytech arrived, and I was there. I was able to do a 1-year maternity leave position working in the National Diploma of Surveying, which I had done a little bit of work on that as part of my career, in that I was doing assessing as a sort of an income stream, not a particularly lucrative one as it turned out, but nonetheless the experience there was enough to get the job. And then when I finished there, I was able to secure a job at Wintec as in the National Diploma of Engineering and Bachelor of Technology programs, teaching surveying and CAD and all sorts of things like that. And that brings us to where I am today, at Wintec, teaching the land surveying and CAD sort of type things and design, and some maths, and very much enjoying myself. So that's my little introduction to to you, so that you can understand my background and where I came from. All good. Cheers. See you.